Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this short guide on how to use Vassal. I thought that I'd put this online because there's been a lot of people asking, well, I'd love to try Vassal, but I've got no idea how it works, or it seems really complicated, I don't know how to install it, so I thought I'd try and make life easier for you guys, run you through exactly what you need to do this. Now, if you don't fancy watching this video, you can go to this website, Xwvassal.info. This is the website for the Vassal League. So it's now in its 7th season. It's been running for a little while now, and all of the information is available to you guys. If you just click on the new to X-Wing Vassal bit up here, it will run you through everything, just like I'm going to in this video. So what I'm also going to do is in the description, I'm going to put pretty much the basics of this. I'm going to run through a bit further than I do in the information in the description, but you can get all the links that I'm talking about down there, and you can also just follow the instructions without having to listen to my voice. If for whatever reason you have to have this on mute, you can at least work your way through there. So the first thing you're going to want to do to get Vassal installed is obviously have the website open, Xwvassal.info. But the first thing you want to do as well is you want to update your Java, because Vassal is a Java-based program. It runs off Java. So you can go to this website here, java.com/en/download. Obviously, if you're in a different country, we'll probably not get /en. But you can use the link there to download Java. I know that there are some slightly dodgy ones out there, so feel free to use that one. That's where I get it, and I haven't got any viruses, but don't quote me on that. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download Vassal itself. Now, clicking through here, you can see we've got the X-Wing Vassal module and the actual Vassal module itself. So the first section is to install the Vassal module itself, which is the program that runs this. And this can be found here, vassalengine.org. Now, Vassal is just a program that emulates a load of different games. You can see you can play lots of different things on it. We're obviously using it for X-Wing. So you can download the latest version of Vassal here. It'll just download the program, you install the program, and once you've downloaded that from this link, you're also going to want to download the latest module for the X-Wing Vassal. So what you then want to do, and again you can find this through the X-Wing Vassal link, where to get the X-Wing Vassal module files, you just click on that and it has a link right here, or you can use the link in my description, and that will take you here. On the Vassal website. Now just click on the latest one, and yeah, click that, download it. Once you've done that, I'd recommend putting them both in the same place just for simplicity's sake, and it means that you can start to run the Vassal module. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on Vassal itself. Once you have installed it, you will see a window and it should be empty. You won't see any of these in here. What you need to do to see anything in here is you're going to want to go to File, Open Module, and then you're going to want to go to wherever you saved your Vassal file. So for me, I've saved it in here. I would double click on that or just click Open, and that would then install itself, and you would be able to see right here Star Wars Miniatures game, X-Wing 8.2.3 or 9.5 or whatever. It will be the latest version that you'll install here. That's very nice and easy to do. Once you've done that, then you're ready to get started. So double click on here and let's get ourselves Vassal loaded up. So the other thing about Vassal is that when you double click it for the first time, it will need to run through a loading sequence. That might take a little while if you're on a slower computer. Even for my PC, it takes about 2 or so minutes to run through for the first time the module's downloaded. So don't worry about it, it will get there eventually. Now what you see here is the just the intro window. It reminds you whether or not you have the latest version, so it tells you the module you're on, it says you have the latest version and the latest version available for download is that. It also gives you download links. So once you've got this downloaded, you'll never have to go and dig for those links again. You can just do it when you log in and notice, oh, there's an update out there. Muon, or Michael Janot, who runs this, works out regular updates. Then we get to this window. So this is your option to either load a save game to start from scratch and look through it, you can look for a game online, or you can start a game offline. Now, playing a game offline and playing a game online are very similar. You should be able to pick up how to play a game offline by looking through how to play a game online, so we're going to do this today. The other bit that you want to do is you want to make sure that you do not untick this box, because otherwise you won't see this window at all, and you'll have to navigate back through the actual Vassal interface. It's a bit more difficult to start up. This is much simpler. If you do end up turning that off, you can just go into your preferences, which I'll show you in a second, and you can turn that back on, so it makes it easy for you. So we're going to start a game online, so we click that, we click finish, and it puts us here. So you can see that this is the nice big Vassal window. Now, the only issue that I found with Vassal is that it does take up a lot of screen space. Now, I play across two screens. You can only see one of my screens here. I have the play windows, which we'll come on to in a second, on the other screen, but you can do this on one screen, and for the purposes of this demonstration I will set up the windows as I would have it on screen. Now, normally I'll just get this out of the way and maximize these, and right, we can just see here. So this is what's called the active games window over here. Now, this section is where you can see who's online. You've got the main lobby, which I'm presently now in, Twitch Ollie 186. You have a few players who have got X's by their names, and you can see here that is an AFK symbol away from keyboard, so you can set that if you want to. You've also got an exclamation mark here, which is how you show that you're looking for a game. So if you click the exclamation mark up there, you can see next to my name, it triggers the exclamation mark on and off. That indicates to other people online that you are looking for a game, and they will be able to ask you. The other thing you can do is you can right click on someone's name and you can message them. So for example, if I wanted a game with 513 progress, I can right click, go private message, that will bring up this, and I can message him asking for a game. So I just get that out of the way there. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to start our game. So to get a new game running, you need to make a room. Now, normally what would happen is that you would ask someone, hey, do you want a game? They agree, and then you get a room started. So I'm going to say Ollie versus test. You can call it whatever you like, and once you've made that, you hit enter, and you can see down here a new room has been created, and I'm inside it. So now we've got the room, we need to make the game. So to do that, we go just to the file key, hit new game. You can also load a game if you want to, and I don't want to be an observer. If you join another game made by somebody else and you just want to watch, you can play as an observer. I'll show you that in a second. Player 1, next, select any of the 3x3 boards if you're doing a standard size X-Wing game. There are some larger boards. If you want to play Armada, for example, you can play Armada on here. But we're just going to go for one of the classic boards here. You can see there's some that are a lot more fancy. Gold Squadron Podcast, Minox, Scum and Vinley. They've all got agreements with Muon that he basically is allowing sponsored stuff on there. So pick a board that you like the look of. We'll use this one so it's not too busy. So once you've got the board, you just click finish. And now the game is created. So what you now want to do is you want to get your list loaded. So up here is the player windows. If you click on one of these numbers, you can see the player window, a bit like the space next to the board that you would normally have when you play this on the table. If I click on player 1, this is my player window here, and I can see in here I have a space for a damage deck, I have some squad spawn options, and I also have a little button that says say set. We'll come onto that one in a second. I can zoom in and out if I want to using these buttons, and don't worry about the camera too much, that's not really important with the present module. It's useful for other things. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and spawn a list ready to play a game. So the great thing about Vassal is that everything is automated now, so you can just automatically spawn your list. You don't need to go clicking a million things. To do that, you go to whatever squad builder you use on a regular basis. I'm going to use YASB 2.0. Then you copy the web address. So there we go, we'll just copy that one. We go back to our Vassal window, And as this is a 2.0 list, I'm going to go 2.0 spawn, open up the squad spawner. I'm going to get rid of what's in there already, paste my list by doing Control V, the right clicks don't work on here, and then spawn squad from URL. Again, this might take a little while if your computer's a bit slower, but don't worry about that, it will do it eventually. And you can see here that my entire list, including the asteroids, because on YASB I made sure that I put the asteroids in my list, has been spawned inside this window. Now the other thing obviously that you need for a game is dice and a damage deck, so you can find that also up the top here. So if I click on the dice window, that will appear. I'm just going to place that down here for the moment, get it out of the way. We'll come to that in a second. I'm going to make this window slightly smaller so that I can see my list, I can see all my ships, and then I'm also going to click the damage deck, and you can see here you have all the different types of damage decks for Epic and for first edition deck, second edition deck, and the 2.0 deck. So I'm going to spawn the second edition deck here, and it now appears there. If you spawn multiple decks, you can see that it spawns multiple cards. Just hit undo, really useful key here, and it will just undo that. So I'm going to close that. We have everything ready to play, and then if you hit the map button, you'll see the map that we had spawns here. So the first thing is we're just going to make this window the appropriate size for where we want it. So I'm going to put the window over here. I'm going to make this slightly smaller because we don't need it right now, and we have the text here so we can see that. And I'm going to make the map as big as I can without getting in my way. There we go. The final thing is you might want to zoom in on the map. The best function on here is I like to say fit height or fit width, depending on which one your window is set by. For this one, obviously it's taller than it is wide, so I will go fit width. So now we have the map. To get the map ready for setup, on here there are some little grids. This shows you the inside grid is for the asteroids, that is a range 2 from the end of the board. The outside grid is the range 1s. And there we go. So you're ready to play. You have your list over here, you have your map here, and you can get on the board and play. Now your opponent would have their list in the player 2 or player 3 or player 4 windows. It will tell you what player they are when they join the game, and you'll be able to see everything in here, but importantly you will not be able to see their dials if they cover them. So you can see everything about their cards but not their dials. We'll come on to that later. So if you do need anything extra, you can find that in the Pieces tab, which is up here. So the Pieces tab means that you can find, say for example, if you forget to spawn asteroids, you've got all the original asteroids in here. You've got the Force Awakens ones, and you've also got the debris, all 6 of them, in there. If you want tokens, you have 1.0 tokens, you have some of the bombs, although you probably won't need that, we'll come on to that in a second. And then you also have all of this 2.0 tokens in here. So some cards, most of the cards as you can see will spawn tokens with them and next to them. Sometimes, for example Darth Vader, Muon hasn't quite incorporated some of the Force users, so I'm going to click and drag, left click over to there, and I have a Force token for Whisper if I need it. Right, so let's get into actually how to play the game. Instead of selecting just one ship and dragging it, I can drag, let's just undo that to show you, I can click and drag a box around all 3 ships, they're selected, and then I can click and drag those over to here and move them so that we can see them. I can also put my asteroids on there, like so, and as this is only me on the board, we may as well use all of the asteroids from me. So I'm going to use all of the big rocks, place those on there. You can also do fit height here, or you can fit width, but obviously those asteroids are on the board, so we'll delete those first and then fit the width to my list, just like that. So I'm going to leave the dials in here for now. What we're going to do is we're going to play sideways. Normally you could play up and down, most people play sideways because a lot of people struggle to play upside down. the first thing you're going to need to know to play is that if you right click on a ship, you can see all of its moves. So you've got rotations, you've got template moves, so if I click 1 forwards, I will go 1 forwards. As you can imagine, that's quite slow, so I'm going to show you an amazing little piece of technology that has just come in on Vassal. If I take Death Rain's dial here, you can see it's presently set for a stop. The first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to hide that dial. So I right click on the dial and I can toggle the hidden. So I'm going to toggle the hidden. The key for that, by the way, is Control R or Control S. Okay, Control R or Control S. So if I want to reveal the dial, I can hit Control R. You can see that it's come up there. It shows whoever's on the board, whoever's in the game, what I'm doing. So there we go. I'm now going to place that in my window because I want to set my dial. Now, if I try and do anything on the board, if I go left and right, you can see that there is a warning coming. That's to stop people cheating, so you know if someone's trying to alter their dial while it's on the board. Now, I'm going to hide all 3 of my dials. So I'm going to hit Control R and hide all 3 dials. And then I'm going to select a move. Now I can move my dial left and right if I want to using the right click menu, left to right, or I can use period or comma. Now that's much more useful. So if you do the full stop, it will move to the right around the edge, and you can see that you can very easily select a move here. So I'm just going to select a 3 forwards from Death Rain. I'm going to take my dial, I'm going to put it on the board. Red line will do a hard 3 turn to the left. I'll put that next to him. And Whisper will do a K turn. So we'll do a 4K turn and we'll place that there. Okay, so I've got some dials, I've got some ships. Now what I do is if I press Control S when I'm holding onto that dial, so I click the dial, I hit Control S, my ship moves automatically. I don't have to do anything else, it just moves automatically. It's a really, really useful function. I then click on Red Line's dial, I hit Control S, he does his move. I can then take a focus, for example, if I wasn't stressed. So I will place a stress token next to him. Whisper will then reveal her move, and you can see that also it turns the ship around. If you want to see along the line that the ship has just moved, you click on the ship and you hit the C key, and it places a marker template down. That template will relate to what move you just did. So if it's a hard turn, obviously you have the turn. If it's a straight move, they just put down the 5 straight because you can see the move. That's to check for asteroids as such. The other clever thing about Vassal is there are hotkeys for all the moves. If it's a straight move, you use Shift and then 1, 2, 3, etc. If you want to turn around, you hit Control U, and that will rotate the ship. Left and right are Control and Alt. So Shift is straight, left is Control. If I wanted to bank Whisper 1 to the left, I'd press Control and 1, and she would bank 1. If I wanted to bank her 3 to the right, I would press Control and 3. And now I'm going to show you something that is the lifesaver on Vassal. So if I do a 3 bank, Whisper will crash into the back of Death Rain. So I'm going to do that now. Alt 3, a 3 bank, we've crashed. The ships flash, there's a message down here, and it tells you, oh look, my ships are crashed. All you do to fix that is you click on the ship, and you hit the C key once more, and you can see the ship automatically moves into a bumped position, and the template is used to line it up. So Vassal will do this automatically, you don't have to worry about anything, every single ship gets lined up for you. To get rid of the template, you can right click and you can delete it, or you can use the hotkey there, Control D. So Whisper is now moved. If for whatever reason you need to rotate Whisper, you can just select her, use the arrow keys left and right to rotate her. If you need to do it really small, you hold down Control, you can do small amounts, and back to where she was. So for example, if I wanted to reset the game, I can hit Control, make sure she's lined up nice and straight, just like that. So she's now straight again. Okay, so we've done moving. You can see that you can right click and you can get most of the moves. Remembering that straights are Shift, banks are Alts, and if you want to do a turn, you do a Control or Alt for left and right and the Shift key together. So Control Shift 1, Control Shift 2, Control Shift 3, etc. And then we bank Control 1 to straighten up. We've done the moving. Now let's move on to some shooting. To do some shooting, I will use Whisper as the target, and red line will get ready to fire some torpedoes. So we'll go through a standard shooting phase. Whisper, let me just set some dials to show you. Whisper, we'll do a hard one. Red line, we'll do a one bank, and we're going to play the scenario so red line is moving second. So the dials are going to be placed next to the ships. Normally I wouldn't be able to see Whispers if it was my opponent, so I'll show you that in a second. Whisper will move first. She hits Control S and reveals her move, and then she will take a focus token and stay where she is. Red line hits Control S on his dial and reveals a one bank. He now wants to check if Whisper is in range for a target lock to fire some torpedoes. To check this, we have two options. You can get the firing up on your ship by hitting Control and F. That will immediately display the firing arc in front of the ship. I can trigger it on Whisper. And you'll notice these are green. They're different colours for each of the factions, so it's easy to tell them apart. However, if you are looking at this and it's very, very, very close, for example, if Whisper was just on the edge here, it was very hard to tell if you're zoomed out. You can do what's called auto range. So Control, Shift and F will automatically check the range for you. And if you right click on the ship, you can also look at all the firing arcs here. You can have a look at the lock options, for example. Anyway, rotations, barrels. Good. Right, so that is most of the moves that you will need to play on Vassal. Everyone tends to say set when they've done their moves, so you can see here that you can click the say set key after you've done it. What you can also do is you can change your name and every other thing. You see mine is set to Twitch TV or Ollie186. If you go into tools, preferences and file, you will see here there's a load of preferences. You can change everything. If you go to personal, you can change your name. If you go to sounds, etc., you can turn certain things off. Chat window, you can change all of the fonts and the colours. And remember to turn these markers off when you play the game so that you get an idea. For the asteroids, you can also check the target lock range, and if you want to, you can rotate an asteroid by going Control R and spinning it like this. Finally, as everything's on the right click menu, if you want to flip a card, you can flip it using Control F or right click and flip, and if it's on the table, it will state what card it is on there. If you hover over the card, you can see what it says. Everything's on there. So, hopefully you find that useful. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave you to play. Have a good time. Most things are fairly self-explanatory, and everyone on here is very, very friendly. So it's going to be easy for you to just wander on, start a pickup game, and yeah, just start playing some Vassal whenever you want to. It means that if you don't have access to a table, you can play online. Some people have said that the top-down interface is a bit confusing, but after a while you do get used to it. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck. Final thing that I'm going to add is there's a couple of useful websites linked to it. As I said before, you have Xwvassal.info, which is here. Loads of useful information here. Also, if you do fancy supporting Muon or supporting the League or supporting Vassal itself, you can do this in here. If you're looking up the competitive scene, you can have a look at all of the standings. Deep Core is the best in the world, Core World slightly under that, and therefore etc, 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 all the way down to unknown reaches. Well, you guys will start if you want to start on a League on Vassal. You have all the squad builders here, you have the Slack channels. You also have these wonderful links down here. So, critical hit cards, which aren't as useful now that you have the images on the cards, but you have what's called Lady Luck. Now, this is really, really useful. You can paste your chat log in here, paste your name up there, and all you need to do is just generate the stats, and it will show you a wonderful graph of all of the dice stats over the course of the game. So if you are complaining about your dice, or if you really want to know what happened, you can do that. So, useful little tool for you. So, that is everything you need. I hope you enjoyed the guide, and yeah, fly casual. Bye.